Hello there. Are you preparing for a Java interview? Then this video is very important for you. Spend 10 minutes on this video and I'm sure you're not going to regret it. Hello and welcome to Desi Coding Academy, and today I am going to talk about 10 most important Java interview questions. So let's get started and discuss these questions one by one. The first question is, what are the object-oriented programming concepts and how are they implemented in Java? To answer this question, you must state the four principles of object-oriented programming, namely encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Encapsulation is the wrapping of data and methods in a single unit. This is implemented in Java using variables and methods in a class. Inheritance is self-explanatory. Java supports inheritance where one class can acquire the properties of another class. We use inheritance using the extends keyword in Java. Next up is polymorphism. Polymorphism literally means the ability to take multiple forms. In Java, we implement it using method overloading and method overriding. Now, method overloading and method overriding are important questions in themselves. We will discuss them later, but for now remember, when you talk about polymorphism, you need to give the example of method overloading and method overriding. And the last one is abstraction. Abstraction means hiding internal details, exposing only necessary functionality. In Java, this is implemented using abstract classes or interfaces. Moving on to the next question. What is the difference between JDK, JRE and JVM? Now these sound very familiar, these sound very similar, but they have different meanings. JDK is Java Development Kit. It contains the tools needed to develop Java applications, including the JRE and the compiler. JRE, on the other hand, is Java Runtime Environment, which provides the libraries and the JVM for running Java applications. But JRE does not include the development tools. Lastly, JVM, Java Virtual Machine, is where the actual conversion of Java bytecode into machine code happens. So JVM converts Java bytecode into machine code and executes it. So you must know what is JDK, JRE and JVM and should be able to tell the difference between the three. Moving on to our next question. How is Java platform independent? So a lot of interviewers ask this question. Why do you say Java is a platform independent language? Now the answer to this would be Java is platform independent because of its write once, run anywhere capability. What this means is Java programs are compiled into bytecode which runs on any system which has JVM. No matter where you compiled your program, once the program is compiled, you can run it on any operating system which supports Java Virtual Machine. So that is why Java is called platform independent. The next question is, what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive data types? This is a very fundamental question and most often asked in interviews. So we need to understand that primitive data types store the actual values of data, whereas non-primitive data types do not store the actual value. They store the memory address or the reference address to where the actual data can be found. Primitive data types are like int, double, char, boolean, whereas non-primitive data types are string, arrays and objects. So the main difference is primitive stores the actual data, whereas non-primitive stores the memory address of the data. So you must remember that. Moving on to another important question, that is, what is the difference between a double equals comparative and a dot equals method? When we use a double equals and a dot equals, what is the difference between them? Remember, the double equals operator compares memory addresses. So if you are comparing two objects with a double equal to symbol, it is checking if these two objects point to the same memory address or not. On the other hand, the dot equals method, this compares the actual data or the actual value. So dot equals does the content comparison and double equal to compares the memory addresses. So if I write string s1 equal to new string hello and string s2 equal to new string hello, if I use a double equal to comparative operator, it will return false because the address is different. but if I do a s1 dot equals s2, it will return true because it is doing the content comparison. So remember this difference. This is very important, one of the basic questions of Java, but sometimes people miss out on understanding these. The next question is, what are constructors in Java and how are they different from methods? Remember, constructor is a special method which is used to initialize objects. Constructor has the same name as the class and constructor never has a return type. So constructor is a special method. How is it different from the general methods of a class? The difference is it has the same name as of the class name and it can never have a return type. Other methods can or cannot have a return type and have a different name than what the class name is, but constructors will have the same name as the class name and will never have a return type. Constructors are used to initialize objects. So whenever you create an object of a class, the constructor method is called. Moving on to the next question, what is method overloading and method overriding in Java? Now remember, when we were discussing object-oriented programming, we used method overloading and method overriding as the examples of polymorphism. So understand the difference between these two. Method overloading is when multiple methods in the same class have the same name but different parameters. So method overloading is related to the same class when we have multiple methods with different parameters but the same name. Method overriding, on the other hand, is related to inheritance. When a subclass provides a specific implementation of a method which is already defined in the parent class, then we call it method overriding. Okay, so method overloading is the same class. Method overriding is related to inheritance. Moving on, another basic question, what is the difference between an array and an array list? Very important. The most important difference that you must tell is an array has a fixed size and an array list has a dynamic size. You cannot increase or decrease the size of an array, but you can do that with an array list. Couple more differences. One is around performance. Arrays are faster. Array list is slightly slower than what arrays work like, and they have methods. So methods, arrays do not have any inbuilt methods, but array lists have inbuilt methods like add, remove, size, etc. So these are key differences between an array and an array list you must remember before you prepare for an interview. Moving on, what are final, finally, and finalize in Java? Now again, these three terms sound very similar but have very contrasting meanings in Java. So final is basically a keyword and it is used to declare constants and methods, and it prevents method overriding or inheritance. So for example, if you declare a class as final, then nobody can inherit that class. Similarly, if you declare a constant as final, it cannot be changed. If you declare a method as final, it cannot be overridden. So final is a keyword. Finally is related to exception handling. So this is a block that gets executed after a try catch block. This is a block which will always be executed and it is used for cleanup activities. Moving on to finalize. Now finalize is a method. This is a method which is called by the Java garbage collector before an object is destroyed. So final is a keyword, finally is a block of code, and finalize is a method, and these were their differences of usage. Moving on to the next question, what is the difference between break and continue statements in Java? Both of these are jump statements. They allow you to jump the loop or execution, but they have a stark difference. When break is encountered, it exits the loop completely. So when a break keyword is encountered, the program exits the loop completely. But when a continue keyword is encountered, it skips the current iteration and moves to the next iteration. So break completely cuts off the loop and moves out. Continue does not move out of the loop. It just skips the current iteration and moves to the next one. So these were the 10 most important questions that you must know before a Java interview. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please share and subscribe and stay tuned for more such content. Thank you so much for watching and we'll meet in the next video. Till then, happy learning.